Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lebanon Opera House and Cindy Pierce's comedy benefit for the Special Needs Support Center. Woo! We have an excited house tonight. I love it. I am the Executive Director of the Special Needs Support Center, Dr. Kendra LaRoche, and I'm going to give you a few moments of belonging here. I'm going to tell you a few moments of belonging that are true stories that happen right here in the Upper Valley. The first one is a student. He is an elementary student at Marion Cross School, and he has cerebral palsy and uses a wheelchair. His moments of belonging happen every day at recess when he can go outside with his friends, access the playground, and play on that playground equipment because Marion Cross School chose to use universal design in designing their playground because they wanted every student to know that they were valued and feel like they belong. My next moment of belonging is that there is a young adult who goes every Saturday to the local co-op in the area, and she goes grocery shopping with her mom. When she gets to that checkout at the grocery store, every time the cashier remembers who she is, and she talks to her about her special interests, which is a very common need for someone on the autism spectrum. She remembers those special interests, she asks questions about them, she engages with her. It takes less than a minute, but that minute out of her day says that not only is she welcome in that grocery store, not only can she do her grocery shopping and access all of her needs, but she is valued, she's appreciated, and she belongs. There's another young woman who works at Still North Bookstore. And first, she has a myriad of disabilities. She's in her 20s. And this past summer, during July, they did a Disability Pride book display. And she and several colleagues put it together. And what I loved about this is that Still North Books showed with this that not only is it wonderful to employ people with disabilities because they have value in and of themselves and a lot to offer the rest of the community, but they recognized those values enough that they said, we want everyone in the community to recognize these values. How can we do this? The way bookstores can. They can amplify authors' voices. So that's what came out of this beautiful display is they said, we're going to amplify disability voices for the entire community because we value them. We want this to be a community where everyone can belong. And my last example happened right out here in the Lebanon Green. It's an older woman with dementia, and she was on the green and she couldn't remember how to get home, she couldn't remember her address, and the Lebanon Police Force was called. And we have trained the Lebanon Police Force. We've trained all of the police forces and emergency responders in the Upper Valley to respond to people with disabilities. And they were able to come and not only help her be calm and feel safe while they called and got a hold of her husband, but the next step is they sat down with her and her husband and they talked to them about how to be proactive about this new phase of their lives that they were going through and some tools that they could use. And they did this because they recognized that she belongs in this community, that she has value, that we as a community need to support all of the people around us because they do belong. You guys are a great audience. I have to tell you, I wasn't expecting this much clapping. All right, so Cindy Pierce is going to be really excited. You're laughing at me. So here at the Special Needs Support Center, we believe in going beyond accessibility. So accessibility is about the entry point, right? You guys all came in a door, right? That's what makes this place accessible. You could have come in the front door, you could have come in the handicap entrance. Anyway, you came in an accessible way and you got in the door. That's great. You were greeted by someone and led to the area, led to the event, right? That is inclusion. So inclusion is the act of bringing people in, and that is the next step beyond accessibility. And that's the next step for a lot of places in the Upper Valley, is to go to inclusion. But that is not the final step. The final step is actually belonging. Belonging is the emotional experience of feeling welcomed and valued where you are. That's what we're aiming for. So you didn't just walk in here or ride your wheelchair in here. You were welcomed in here, you came and sat down, and the event was planned with you in mind. And I say this to you in the audience. I say this to you who are at home and watching this, because you can watch this at home. I say this to you who are not looking at me, who are looking over our interpreters over here. This is what belonging looks like. And we want to bring belonging to the entire Upper Valley. What could that look like outside of here at the Lebanon Opera House? It could look like people going to work as their true, authentic selves every day with full physical and psychological safety. It could mean that at work, you don't have to wonder, if you are a wheelchair user, if someone's going to try to assume that you can do either too much or too little. It also means if you have an invisible disability, that you're going to be able to have the accommodations you need because you know your boss, your colleagues, everyone just wants you to be able to do your best at your job. That's one way it can look like belonging. Another way it can look like belonging is to have a sensory-friendly grocery store, sensory-friendly big box stores, sensory-friendly small businesses. So imagine going into any of these stores and having the lighting be not those fluorescent lights that gives people migraines, but a warm, friendly lighting. There's not going to be jarring announcements that come on in the middle of your shopping experience. There will be maps that tell you where things are so that you can get around. And when you're going through that checkout, that really loud beep that goes beep, beep, beep every time you're checking something out, that could be dimmed down so it's not going to be a sensory overload. That's another example of how belonging could look in the Upper Valley. Belonging can look as simple as having interpreters at all of our events, right? Not just if it's asked for, right? If it's asked for and given, that's access. But if it's just standard, what does that say? It says that you are seen. It says that you are valued, you are wanted here, that you belong here. That's what the Special Needs Support Center is. We are looking at this vision of what belonging could be. And I invite all of you to join us in that vision to go beyond accessibility.
We donate for one really important reason. It makes a difference, and it really makes an important difference. It literally lives up to its name. It supports those who have special needs.
Actually, it was called Upper Valley Support Group when we first joined that. That's probably 25 years ago. When I was on the board, we changed the name because Upper Valley Support Group doesn't really describe what the organization does, and that's when Special Needs Support Center became the name.
The Special Needs Support Center has evolved significantly since it first began. Our involvement here started back in the early 70s.
We have the joy of having a lifetime of having observed a cultural shift.
So what Special Needs Support Center provides is that just different activities, whether they're recreational, whether they're sort of musical or artistic in some way, just different kinds of things that if you have special needs as an individual, want to be able to do. Art Lab is a classic example because it's just so well done.
I love going to Art Lab. This is I look forward to doing Art Lab every week, and when we don't have Art Lab, I'm super bummed because I don't get to like express myself through art. You get to be with friends and you get to interact with other people with disabilities and also people without disabilities.
I hang out with my friends. I make pumpkin.
Pumpkin?
Yeah,
Oh, very festive. Oh,
Yeah.
matches your sweater.
thank you.
I also like the dances and getting to be with friends and community members.
We recently had a movie night for our youth and we watched Hocus Pocus 2 and we had some newer friends and some older friends, and some of the newer friends were a little nervous about spending time here, but by the end of the movie night everyone was totally engaged.
Sometimes it's tough to find childcare too, so she comes out with us a lot.
Part of that movie night is we made a reservation for parents at a local restaurant and they all got to connect and feel less alone, and they actually came back a little bit late because they were having such a great time and everyone was like, when's the next one? So that felt really great.
At SNSC, a big part of what we do is pairing families who are in need with advocates and people to help support them through the educational process.
I think it's really hard to pay attention if you're not understanding the language, or you're feeling confused, or you're feeling annoyed with all the acronyms.
Up until you're in this situation yourself, like you've never thought of any resources, you've never thought of anything that you would need, you don't even know what you would need.
We did not know.
But knowing that there's a center and an organization and other like-minded individuals who are there to help and foster our development, it just means a lot. It really does mean a lot.
The previous executive director collaborated with the Los Angeles Police Department to help us set up our program that we call SNP, which is Special Needs Information Program, to address the needs of children and adults with disabilities in ways that recognize the differences and recognize some of the dangers that can come up when first responders come to see a child or an adult with disability.
Sheriff's departments want it for their whole county. I mean, it's blown up and morphed really big.
With our daughter having a lot of activities with Special Needs Support Center, we realized that a large portion of the revenue from this not-for-profit, as well as most not-for-profits, comes from individual donations. So we felt we wanted to give to SNSC to let it continue and prosper. We put SNSC in our wills because we wanted to continue to support SNSC after we both passed.
Thank you, JAM, for creating that video for the Special Needs Support Center and for their live streaming this tonight. If any of you want to know more about the Special Needs Support Center, I will be out at the table on your way out, and please come visit. I would really love to share with you what we do. A few other thank yous before we get to what you're really here for, which is Cindy Pierce. But I want to thank Lebanon Opera House for having us here and for donating their physical space to us. I want to, yes, big thank you, yes. A thank you to Cindy Pierce herself, who is donating her time and energy and gave half these proceeds to the Special Needs Support Center. So another big thank you to Cindy Pierce. And finally, I, of course, need to thank both my staff and board for putting this together and getting, I believe there's about 650 of you here and another 60 of you watching from home. So that is quite a crowd. All right, the moment you've been waiting for, I'm going to introduce Cindy Pierce. She's an author, an educational speaker, a storyteller, an innkeeper, and a mother. She combines comic storytelling and years of research. She engages audiences with her message about negotiating cultural pressures and reminding us that we are not alone in our fumbles and stumbles. Thank you, Cindy Pierce.